Welcome everybody. I'm Libby Gore with In the Hills, and In the Hills is my home-based, or rather basement-based yoga studio here in Rome, Georgia. And during the COVID quarantine, I have been offering 3 classes a week. I normally have 9 group classes a week. Um, here in the hills, and I've just really been missing my students, but I'm offering this as a way for them to continue with their practices. The 3 classes that I'm offering a week are all very different from one another. The Friday nights, it's Feel Good Friday, and so it's all about therapeutic release. There can be some strengthening moves when we do that, but because that's the smartest way to stretch. But we also dive into the realm of myofascial release, which we'll be doing some tonight, and things of that nature. My Sunday classes, those are more geared to getting moving. Traditional hatha yoga, some sun salutations usually, standing postures, floor postures, the whole 9 yards with that. And then my Wednesday offering is a yin class. So if you've stumbled upon my YouTube channel and are new to what I teach, there's a rundown for you. I'd also like to give a disclaimer that you should check with your physician before beginning any exercise program, including this one that you're about to do. And, In the Hills and me, Libby Gore, we are not responsible for any injury. The full disclaimer is listed below. If you enjoy this and get something out of it, the kindest thing that you can do for me is to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I have plans of beginning to record a full catalog of poses, so there'll be short videos going through single poses. And then I think I'm also going to begin putting together some 15 and 20-minute sequence videos as well. I'm just waiting on a little bit better production equipment to come in. These classes so far have been recorded from my laptop, which is what I'm doing here through Zoom. So I appreciate having you here, and I hope that this feels good to you tonight. Welcome, Karen.
Oh, hello.
Come on in.
Okay, I gotta get myself set up. Okay, I'm zoomed into yoga. I gotta go. Okay, I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Okay, bye. I was on the phone, and then I realized that it was 6 o'clock, and I was like, I want to do yoga. I gotta go.
Well, I've just given my spiel about the disclaimer and In the Hills and who I am, and I was about to tell about tonight's sequence, which is all about releasing the feet and ankles, oftentimes a neglected area of our body. And so tonight it's the star of the show. So hopefully you'll feel good from, at the very least, the knee down tonight. But when we release our ankles and our feet and do some strengthening work there, it just provides support all the way up through the rest of our bodies. Our feet are our foundation, and so that is our focus tonight. So we'll go ahead and center up here and start with a little bit of breath work. And Karen, if you'll just make sure that your microphone is turned off unless you have a question, just to prevent any feedback. So I've got a student in the room with me tonight. It's been nice recording these because I'll get a few students some nights just a couple. So it's good though. It gives me somebody to teach to instead of just the camera. All right, let's go ahead and find a comfortable seated position here. Either cross-leg position or kneeling perhaps, if that feels better to you. You can certainly elevate your hips on a blanket to make sure you have that nice natural curve in the low back. Drop the shoulders away from the ears, bring a lift into the heart as you draw the low ribs back. Lift from the base of the skull through the crown of the head. Closing your eyes. Drawing all senses to the present moment. Maybe you can become so quiet and so still that you can hear the beating of your own heart. Try to consciously relax any tension or stress that you're holding in your body. Some of the usual suspects are the forehead, the jaw, the shoulders. See if on an exhale you can just let any of that go, even if it's just a little bit of it. That's progress for you. And if you'd like to take a moment to come into heart space and set an intention for your practice. My personal intention for tonight's practice is to be present with my feet and give them all the attention that they so very much deserve, but rarely get. Even though I'm a reflexologist as well. And we'll bring our hands together at heart center. We'll inhale, reaching forward and up, and exhale, back down to the heart. Holding here to open our class with 3 ohms, taking an inhale. Fourth ohm resonates within the heart space. All right, so we're going to actually start standing tonight. You'll need 1 block to begin with, and if you don't have yoga blocks available to you, you could probably get away with a couple of hefty books for this first foot release work. So I'm going to come more up to the camera so you can really see this. So I'm just putting my block on the ground here. I'm going to pull my pants leg up as well. And we're going to start with just some myofascial release of the bottom of the foot. So I'm going to come and bring my foot right to the corner of the block, and I'm going to press into my foot right above my heel. Now, this block is actually giving because I'm on grass, so it shouldn't be up under the top of your foot. If you're on ground, it's probably going to, like on the floor, it's probably going to look more like that with some space between your foot. But because I'm on the grass, it's giving way. But I'm pressing the corner of the block right into the crease, or it's not really a crease. It's where the skin of the heel meets the arch of the foot. So the skin texture changes there. You don't want to press directly onto the heel. The heel is actually a fatty pad that's meant to stay intact the way it is. Believe it or not, it's fat under there. I mean, it's encapsulated, but it's very important because it's the only thing that's cushioning between your calcaneus, your heel bone and the ground. So we need for it to stay that way. So I'm just pressing right into that crease, and now I'm going to start rocking from side to side. And if you notice any, I like to call them special spots, you'll know what I mean if you hit one. Like when I go more toward my arch and press in on it, it's a little more tender than when I'm to the outside edge of my foot. So if you find a tender spot, you may just want to hold and have, you know, a good 3 to 5 breaths there, just holding on that spot. So I'm going to hold here toward my arch. And of course, as a reflexologist, my mind starts ticking around as to, okay, what organ is that I'm now stimulating? And, you know, since it's tender, there's probably some imbalance happening within that organ or organ network. So I am pressing into, it could be the bladder area, or it, if you go even further up into the arch, inner arch of the foot, the medial arch, that would be my low lumbar spine. And either of those areas could definitely be the culprit for the tenderness for me. And so I'm just going back to rocking across. It felt like it released a little bit for me. And then I want to move up right to the center line of that arch and kind of move around and see if I find anything special to work with there. And I'm basically going to kind of work my way up right to under the ball of the foot, where the foot changes, the texture of the skin changes again once we move on to the ball of the foot. This upper line that separates the ball of the foot from the arch of the foot is your diaphragm. So you can imagine that most of us will find some things to work with in that area because it's so closely linked with our breath. I mean, it's that's how the breath happens, is the diaphragm. All right, so go back to right above the heel. I want you to try to put some weight forward by just hinging at the hips and pressing, or just putting your weight on that front knee. You can even wiggle the back foot back a little bit. We'll take 5 breaths here. All right, I'm just going to help myself off of the block. And now, strangely enough, we're going to come into down dog. And when you come into your downward facing dog, I want you to kind of pedal the feet back and forth and then settle into your dog and tune into the feet and see or experience, feel if there's a difference just with the little bit of work that we've done with the right foot so far. So we're reaching our sits bones up. We're trying to engage the tops of our feet toward our shins. I'm just giving a little shift of the hips side to side here. You can pedal, you can shift a little bit, and then try to settle into stillness. Really reaching out of the sides of the waist through the arms. An outward spiral of the upper arms to draw them away from the ears and create space for you. This should be a neutral spine, so we would like low ribs and navel drawn up so that you're not collapsing into it. There's some strength here. And once again, just tuning into the feet and feeling the difference between the foot that has received treatment, release, and the one that hasn't. I already noticed a difference. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. And come up onto the toes and walk the legs up toward the hands. You can take a soft bend in your knees and then just come up to standing. And we'll move into releasing the left foot, or sole of the foot at least. So let's see, I think that's a good place to put it. And I'll pull my pants leg up on this side so you can see. For the record, if you are jealous of my tie-dyed pants, so once again, I'm going right above the heel line, right where the arch starts, and I can press into it and rock back and forth, stop on any tender places and breathe. Got a little more going on in this foot. So back to the pants. If you're jealous of my pants, don't be. You can have your own pair. Another leg of In the Hills is a tie-dyeing business. So there is a link in the description below to our webpage where you can see what we have to offer and order yourself some with our online order form. We're quick and we ship for pretty cheap. All right. I've got a spot I'm going to hang out on for 5 breaths before I move. Okay, I'm going to kind of wiggle up more to the center of the arch area. In reflexology, this is our waistline, so any organs in that area as you move back and forth across are going to be stimulated or moved toward balance. Woo! And you may hit the kidneys in there. I just hit my kidney and I am having to breathe with that one. That is toward the center arch. So you've got the waistline that cuts the foot in an upper and lower half. And then if you move medially toward the center line of your body, just above that waistline is the old kidney. Ooh, it is still talking to me there. Ooh, I'm going to let it be for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and move up to that diaphragm line just under the ball of the foot. Just wiggle back and forth on it. And I didn't have anything going on up there. I'm going to go ahead and head back to that center part. That's where I'm going to put my weight this time because that is still giving me some work to do. So I'm just going to try to hang out here and breathe with that spot. Yikes. I need to be giving my feet some more love. I've got my weight all on that. Well, more so on that now. All right, it just relaxed for me. Nice. All right, so we'll go ahead and come back and give our down dog another try and see how she feels now. So I'm just coming back to my mat, nothing fancy, just coming into that down dog, maybe starting with pedaling the feet and shifting the hips side to side. Making sure I'm not shoving my weight forward into my shoulders, but lengthening back and then drawing my low ribs and navel up. Try to engage the tops of the feet toward the shins and observe. Making sure not to clench your teeth. Squeeze your shoulders up to your ears. And we can lower down to come to seated. All right. So I thought I picked a good spot where I wouldn't have to chase the sun the whole time. I'm going to move up a little bit so that I'm not darkened, so that you can actually see what's going on. I don't think I'll have to do too much adjustment. I may have to pull my laptop back a little bit so that it'll get me. I don't know, we're down right now, so I think it can get everything in the frame until I stand up again. I don't have too much more standing up to do. Okay, so coming to a seated position here, you're going to open the legs to a wide angle posture. You can bring your hands behind you just to support your seat here. And then I just want you to externally rotate and internally rotate the feet. So I'll show you what that looks like from here. I'm just going, I'm windshield wipering. I'm windshield wipering the feet, open and closed. Just getting some warmth in the ankles. Getting a little bit of rotation in the hips, not too much, just a little bit. There is one branch in front of the sun and it's right on my face. See? I thought I had found the hole in the trees to be between. It was just too pretty of a day though, not to come outside. Okay, so we're gonna grab our blocks again. Let me actually get a sip of water as well. Throat's been dry today. Okay, so now you're going to grab your block and we're going to be working with the calf for a little bit. So, woo, look at that. Look at those white legs. No tan yet whatsoever. Sorry to blind you. You're going to take your block and bring it on a bit of an angle. And I want you to bring it so that the corner of the block is right in that first meaty part of your calf. So we're just using the block again for some release. The weight of the leg is plenty here. From here, you're going to begin to, sorry, my papers are now all out of sequence. My sequence is out of sequence. I hope you didn't laugh at that. That was not funny. My opinion of your sense of humor would have plummeted if you laughed at that. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, from here, you're going to start rocking from inside to outside, so medial to lateral here. So I'm just rocking across that corner of my block. Ooh. This area of the leg is home of the bladder meridian, according to traditional Chinese medicine. And I cannot remember the name of it, but Thai traditional medicine also deals with energy lines, and I do know that one of your major energy lines runs right up the back of your calf, according to Thai theory. I just can't remember the name of it right now, but I do know your bladder meridian runs back there, and wowzers. I'm finding lots of specialness right in this one area. And then I want you to point and flex. Woo! Point and flex. Even more specialness coming out. Flex, point, and flex. 3 more. Point, flex, point, flex. Last one. Point, and flex, relax that. Move your block maybe an inch or so down. You're still on that meaty part of your calf. We're not going to come off of the meatiness with this particular release work. So again, just rocking inside to outside. I'm finding new fantastic things going on. Trying to send them love and gratitude for their lessons. Thank you for the lessons that you are giving me. Actually, I've known for a while and been doing work for a while on my bladder meridian. It goes all the way up the back of your body, well, and inside, but it ends right here at the inner eyebrow. And there's a particular myofascial release sequence that I've taken my students through before, where we put either a tennis ball or a massage ball right on that area, that innermost tip of the eyebrow, and lie down, like we're lying down on our bellies, and we bring the ball into there. Oh my goodness, that is some serious business right there. And I've got a tear duct that, sorry, I'm rambling tonight, but you know, we're friends here. We're just doing our release work, chit-chatting. I have a tear duct that's clogged, which would definitely correspond to the bladder meridian. And so when I get on that point, it just sends me through the roof. I have to do a lot of release work on that, on the pressure points on that meridian. Okay, let's point and flex a few times here. I didn't tell you this earlier, but I've just got this other leg just sitting in, you know, like I would if I were sitting crisscross. I don't have it out straight or anything. It's just comfortable. Okay, let's do one more. So you're right at the lowest meaty part of your calf before you get onto that tendon back there. So make sure that, I mean, I'm a hair further than halfway down my leg. I mean, I know you can see that there, but, and we'll go inside to outside. This is not so bad down here for me. Thank y'all for caring. Not too many birds tonight. Got some crickets. Haven't seen any deer or turkey this evening either. If we have a spotting though, I'll try to catch them with the camera for y'all. Maybe we'll have some birds come in and sing to us for Shavasana later on. That would be nice. The wind is nice though. It's blowing through the trees. All right, point and flex a few times at this level. I wonder if this has been surprising for y'all to discover what's going on back there. Like I said, it's oftentimes neglected. All right, you can release that. We're going to stick with this leg here, this right leg. I'm going to turn toward the camera, but I'm not going to switch legs. It's going to look like I'm doing my left leg to y'all, but this is my right leg. And I'm just going to hold hands. So I'm going to interweave my fingers between my toes. So if you're grossed out by your own feet, I'm sorry. This bottom leg can either be bent or you can have it long, but you just want to let your ankle rest on your other leg. And then we're just going to crank our ankle around in circles. So I'm just deliberately making big circles here. I'm not trying to engage or anything with it. I'm just trying to be loose and let my hand and arm really do the work here and let my ankle just receive the opening. So we want a very yin-like quality in our ankle. So it's not really doing, it's just allowing. So still going in that one direction. And then we can turn and come in the opposite direction. And this is, believe it or not, this is actually a classical yoga posture, classical hatha yoga, ankle crank. If I'm not mistaken, it's in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which was one of the first like codifications of the postures, the asanas. All right, and we're gonna stick with this right foot again, and I'm just gonna bring it, let's see if I can back up a little bit so you can see my foot here. There we go. So I'm just gonna bring it so that I can access the sole of my foot, and I'm gonna take my fist and go right above that heel line again into the arch, and I'm just gonna mash and then move up a little bit, and mash and move up, mash and move up, mash and move up. Then I'm gonna come back to the heel where the heel meets the arch, and I'm gonna rock back and forth right in the arch of my foot. So if you're in the area, in the Rome, Georgia area, and it doesn't suit you to do your own massage and self-release here, come and see me after the shelter in place is lifted, and I will reflexology you up, and you won't have to do a thing but receive and enjoy. I do love giving reflexology treatment. Probably one of my favorite things, especially Thai reflexology. Such a cool method of healing. All right. And again, with the right leg, I'm going to come to the side just a little bit. You're going to grasp so that your thumbs hook into the meat just below the knee. And you're going to press in and move down and press in. So I'm pretending like I'm splitting with my fingers, pulling away from each other on the shin part of my lower leg, and on the calf part, it's pressing into the center. So I'm spreading the top and pressing into the center, then move down, spread and press, spread and press. So sounds kinky, doesn't it? I'm just kidding. If this is the first video that you've watched with me, or you are not one of my students, I just have to explain I'm a big believer in laughter is medicine. I don't take myself too seriously. It's probably to a fault at some point. Okay, so I made it all the way down the meaty part. I'm going to come up and get it again. I'm a jokester, so if I make people laugh, that just makes my day. I feel like I've done my job. Even if they can't do their yoga any better than when they came to me, if they had a good laugh, even if it's at my expense, I'm happy. All right, one more pass on that. Ooh, goodness. That is tender. That center line right there, that is the Thai sin line that runs right up there. All right, we're going to stretch this back and then do all of that again on the left side. Give some lefty love here next. So I want you to come on to hands and knees. Turn your toes under. Now you want to make sure that all 10 toes are turned under so that your toenails are pointing up. I usually have to help my pinky toes. They're kind of rogue and want to do their own thing. We're not going to go into full toe squat here. All I'm going to do is start pressing my hips back to my heels here in this kind of hybrid tabletop child's pose position. So I'm just starting to coax that type of opening into my toes. My pinky toe on my left side, right where the knuckle meets the foot, so that first knuckle is singing to me right now. So just so you know, I'm feeling it too. As if I haven't made that apparent enough. Whoa. All right, a couple more breaths here. We'll give our down dog another test run just to see what all of that work in the right calf has done for us. So go ahead and come back up onto all fours, turn your toes under, and on an exhale, press back and up to your down dog. Wow. That is super noticeable. It even feels like my hamstrings are more relaxed on the right side now. The left side feels tight all the way from my heel up to my hip. Right side's like, ah. Don't forget, don't collapse in this. You want to be lifting through your navel and low ribs. Really lengthening out through your body and not shoving your weight up to your shoulders, but reaching it back into the hips. All right, and we'll just lower back down and we'll go for the left side. So I'm going to turn, blind y'all. It's my leg exposure here. And we'll start with the block on the incline back toward you so that you can access that top corner, and you want it in that top meatiest part of your calf, so it's not in the knee. This is where my knee is. I want it where it starts getting meaty feeling. Gastrocnemius and soleus for you anatomy folk. So I've just started with just some pressure down on it, just the weight of the leg. I'm not pushing on it, just the weight of the leg. And now I'm going to start finding the special things by rocking from side to side. I don't mean to sound like a baby, but this is serious here. Seriousness. Goodness. Couple more passes here. I could probably stand to be here for about an hour and still not have everything released. But it is Friday evening, and so I wouldn't want to cut into cocktail hour, so we will not be here for an hour with this part of the sequence. All right, go ahead and move it down an inch or so, right to the middle of the meatiness, middle of the meat. And going back and forth. Oh, we forgot to point and flex. We'll point and flex on this one. I'm including you in that absent-mindedness. We forgot to point and flex. You didn't tell me. You didn't remind me that we hadn't pointed and flexed. All right, come back to center and point flex. Feel like I get a gold star for remembering this time. Deem that upon myself. Gold starness. One more. All right, move down one more level to that lowest, really meaty part. Remember, you don't want to be on that tendon back there with this. So just on the meats. The meatsies, rocking back and forth to start with. Ooh. Some outer calf issues there. There's some birds. I hope y'all can hear them. When I'm inside my studio, I always have music playing. It's so nice to just have natural music. Music of the birds and the wind. All right, let's come to center and point, flex, point, flex, point, flex. Couple more, point, flex, point, flex, point, flex. All right, we'll go ahead and take that out. And now we're gonna do the ankle crank. So once again, this is my left leg. It's gonna look like my right when I face the camera. I usually mirror my students, but I got started on that one on my right leg because I was turned away from the camera and didn't want to become imbalanced by switching. All right, so I'm just cranking my ankle around. Remember, we're trying to keep a very yin-like quality to the ankle so that it's not really doing any of the work. It's just receiving the full range of motion that is facilitated by the arm and hand. And I'm just interwoven my fingers between my toes there. It always trips me out how weird people are about feet. I touch feet all day and I'm barefoot all day, so it just doesn't, feet don't bother me. Some people freak out about them though. Okay, I've reversed directions. All right, you can release your grip and we're gonna come back to that semi-toe squat, but then we're going to give full toe squat a try. So I'm gonna start on hands and knees here. I'm gonna turn all 10 toes under. Let me pull my mat back just a little, just a hair, so that maybe see my toes. There we go. Yeah. So once again, make sure you don't have any rogue toes like I do. You may want your block accessible for this one. So we're just gonna start by sitting our weight back again. Have a few breaths there. And now you can either, if you don't need to use your block, you don't have to, but it's there and I'll show you how to utilize it if you need to, but you can give this a try of pushing into your hands and lifting your knees. Squeeze your ankles together and drop your knees away from you and try to find your balance on your toes. Okay, so what would I use the block for to help steady you? You can bring your block here and press into your block and hold there if you don't quite have the balance. So I'm trying to squeeze my inner ankles together, push my knees away from myself, and find my sweet spot here. So I'm going to bring my hands to my heart and find my drishti, my one point to focus my gaze on, because I am balancing. I'm letting my knees come up. I need to push them away. Once again, if this is too much for you, just come back to that hybrid table child's pose position with me. All right, we'll come down, releasing our knees back down. and taking that down dog for observation. Wow. Huge difference. I'm still a lot tighter in my left though than my right. That's interesting. My left hip tends to be stronger than my right, even though I'm right-handed. I had an old injury on the right side of my body that kept me from being able to access certain aspects of the right side of my body for a very long time. And I've just recently discovered some strengthening moves that I can do for it. All right. From here, let me see where we're going. So we've got one more seated thing before we come up to standing for just a little bit. Okay, so come back to seated, and I want you to come into Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together. Don't worry about pulling your feet up to your groin, because we're not really using this as its traditional and for its traditional intention of opening the groin and strengthening the outer hips. We're going to use this to do a double fist massage of the meat, the inner meat of the calf muscles. So those last couple of sentences I just said I'm leaving alone, because they were just begging to have innuendos pointed out in them, and I do realize that. So, all right, so I'm going to make a fist, and I want to basically press into my knuckles just below that shin bone into the meat, and then draw away. So it's as if I'm trying to separate this meaty part of my calf away from my shin bone. I kind of press my knuckles in and press away, press in and press away. So I'm doing both sides at the same time here. So I'm just trying to separate that meaty part, and I'm just walking down the side of that bone, and then I'm going to come back up and get it again. So that's round 2. We'll get round 3 here. All right, just gonna kind of give him a little squeeze. And we will come on to hands and knees. Turn all 10 toes under, draw our navel and low ribs up toward our spine. Take an inhale into our low back. Exhale, press back and up. Downward facing dog. Continuing to draw the navel and low ribs up toward the spine. Broadening across your upper back, trying to wrap your shoulder blades around your rib cage. Karen, my student in the room, knows all about that. An activation of serratus anterior. All right. From here, we're going to walk forward toward our hands. Keep a generous bend in the knees and just dangle. So I'm just letting my torso spill over my thighs here. I'm going to shake my head yes and no just to make sure I'm not holding any tension there. Make sure my papers aren't going to go flying away. I'm just swaying from side to side because it feels good across my back. And it's Feel Good Friday, so why not? All right, slowly coming up to standing. Okay, I'm going to step back off my mat a little bit so that I'm fully in frame. So we're going to stretch the tops of the feet. This can be done in a kneeling position, but it's not accessible that way to a lot of people because of knees, tight ankles, things like that. So I decided to go with this version of it today. But all you're going to do, we'll start with the right leg. You're going to curl your toes under. So you're going to point your toes and bring the top of the foot down to your mat. Tuck forward with your pelvis and then press down into the top of your foot. And the further you reach back, in my body at least, the further up the shin that stretch goes. Right now, with my hip in extension here and my foot pointed, I want to make sure I keep that tuck forward, pressing down. I'm feeling the stretch all the way through the top of the foot, across the top of the ankle, and pretty much through the front of my shin up to my knee. So we breathe here. This always feels so good to me till I get a foot cramp. I get a foot cramp a lot with this, and I didn't tonight though. Yay. You can release that and kind of shake it out a little bit before you move into the other side. Okay, so I'm just going to turn to the other side. So this is my left leg. I'm going to point back and reach back as far as comfortable. Tuck forward with my pelvis and then press down through the top of my foot. And the pressing down through the top of my foot is just a matter of engaging my leg in that manner. I almost fell just then. I almost lost my balance. Goodness. I need a dristy. I'm just breathing, letting all of that stretch and open. Two more breaths here. It's such a beautiful night tonight. Might have to make myself a Rona after the after our class here. My mint's growing like crazy. All right, release that, a few circles with the ankle. And then I'm going to have you come and step a little wide, not too far. Let's see, here we go. I'm going to hinge at my hips and just kind of bring my hands down to rest right above my knees. And then I'm just going to shift my weight side to side. So when I shift my hips to the right, I'm going to turn open and flex my left foot back. And then when I shift to the left, I'm going to do the same with the right. I'm keeping a bend in the knee. So it's not too big of a swing from side to side. We're focusing more on pivoting on the heel and flexing the foot back here. This position, without the swaying from side to side, is one I come to a lot to release my low back. I'll show y'all that real quick here after we get done going side to side, because it feels, at least in my own body, it feels like $1,000,000. All right, so I'll show you this next one. Once again, this is not in my sequence, but like I said, it feels right. All right, so you really want to drop down, press open on the knees and just let yourself kind of sink, but you're not having to use engagement to stay in this seat because of the pushing out and the extension of the arm. So let me show you that from the side. So I come here, I reach back with my tailbone, press open with my knees, and just kind of settle down in here. So it's almost effortless to be here, but I'm getting a nice stretch in the groin, opening of the low back here. You can shift side to side this way too and do that same foot stretch that we were just doing. It's just a little deeper in the hips. And kind of bouncing. This body doesn't twerk, so if it could though, I imagine that this is about where it would need to do its thing. All right, so from there, we're gonna come into a squat. You can choose to use your block for your squat. So I'll show you how to come down onto your block. If you don't need it, then you can come all the way into your squat. And your block can be on high, medium, or low. I'm gonna go for medium here to demonstrate. And so I'm gonna come into that same position. Now, if you need to bring the hands down or bring your hands to a block for safety purposes, please do. Or you can just press open and try to control your squat here down to your block. So I'm gonna bring my feet in some. So this is more of a hip and low back thing for me right now. And if this is where your body says you need to be, you stay right here. But if we want to move more into the ankles and feet, we go into full squat. So I'm going to remove my block and draw my feet in. I'm letting my toes turn open. Let me back up a little bit so you can see that. And I'm letting my hips settle down. So this is still hips and low back, but now I've got that stretch going on in my Achilles tendons, the tendons right at the backs of the ankles there, the ankles. And I'm trying to press into the center and lift my heart up out. Just got bitten by something. There's some more birds. It's one thing to be thankful for with the quarantine, at least where I am, is that I've had a lot of chances to slow down and just listen to the birds a little bit. All right, we're gonna come forward onto hands and knees. Hands are slightly forward, slightly wider than the shoulders, fingers spread nice and wide. Turn your toes under, draw navel and low ribs up. Take an inhale into your low back. Exhale, press back and up to your downward facing dog again. Should be feeling nice and open by now. All right, so from here, you're going to step your left foot over to the right side of your mat and step your right leg across in front of your left. So cross leg down dog here. From here, we're going to inhale, tuck under with our pelvis and wave forward through our spine into a plank position. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog, cross leg. Inhale, wave forward, cross leg plank. Exhale, reach back through the hips, cross leg down dog. Inhale, waving forward. Exhale, reaching back. Inhale, two more, waving forward.
Exhale, reaching back. Last one, inhale, wave forward. Exhale, reaching back. And from here, let me see where we're going. All right, we're going to cross the other way. So stepping your right foot over to the left side of your mat, crossing your left leg in front. And we'll do 5 of those for this side. So inhale, wave forward. Exhale, reach back through the hips. Inhale, wave forward. Exhale, reach back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. 2 more. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Last one. Inhale, waving forward. Exhale, back. And from here, I am going to cross walk my way up to my hands. And I'm going to grab my blocks. And I'm going to hold in half forward fold here, using my blocks because I really want to concentrate on reaching my sits bones up to the sky, reaching my heart forward here. Draw my navel and low ribs up as I reach the sits bones up. You should feel that stretch in the upper hamstring attachments. I'm keeping a long back of the neck. And I'm going to bring my hands to my hips so that now my core is activated. I'm going to inhale and come up and lift up onto my toes. And let me step back so you can see my feet here. Okay, up on my toes. And then on the exhale, I'm going to try to control the lower of my heels. Lean forward, but lift the fronts of my feet off the ground and balance on my heels. So it's an inhale, toes plant, and I lift. And exhale, heels plant, toes lift, and I try to balance on my heels. Inhale, lifting heels. Exhale, lifting toes. Inhale, heels. Exhale, toes. You can use your arms to help counterbalance if you'd like. Inhale, heels lift. Exhale, toes lift. Inhale, heels. And it's really the whole ball of my foot is lifting. I'm trying to get all my weight back into my heels. One more dynamic, and then I want you to hold on your heels. And from here, we're going to try to heel walk. So my feet are lifted. It is actually harder to stay in one place when you do this, keeping the legs straight, locked in, than it's harder to stay in one place to do this than it is to kind of walk around a little bit. So got everything lifted from basically my heel forward. The heel is the only part that's touching the ground right now. And relax out of that. Whew. All right, let me see where we are in our sequence. Okay, so we're just going to, got to back up again so I'm in frame. We're going to inhale and sweep across with the left arm, come onto the left toes and reach. So it's a twist reach. Exhale, inhale opposite way. Exhale back to center. Inhale, exhale. And you can speed it up a little bit. shaking that out, maybe shaking your wrists out from that plank work there. See where we are next. A little bit of Prasarita Tadasana, wide leg forward fold work here. So I'm going to step wide, come back so you can see my feet here. I'm going to step wide, and I've just got my blocks right now for support. What I want you to do is turn your toes in so that you're strongly pigeon-toed in this position. And we'll start here in center and just do a little bit of a shift side to side as I bend into the knee. You'll feel it. I feel it in the outer leg. I believe that that muscle, if I'm not mistaken, that I'm feeling it in here. And once again, you want to be strongly pigeon-toed to have this work for you. I think it's peroneus longus that is getting worked on right now, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just carefully shifting side to side. Knees are in kind of a vulnerable position here, so we don't want to go too far. Just enough so that you can feel that work through the outside of the lower leg. And then we'll come into center here, keeping that pigeon toe. You can either keep your blocks right where they are, and we'll fold into Prasarita Tadasana, wide leg forward fold, by pressing down into our hands, keeping our spine as long as possible, bending our elbows back toward or back behind us, and letting ourselves fold forward. Or if having the blocks is keeping you too high and you can easily access your mat here, then you can come all the way down, or you could turn your blocks on medium or low. Press down into your hands. You'll give a slight isometric push forward away from you as you bend. Elbows should point straight back, not out, not chicken wing out to the sides. So I'll show you this from the other direction so that you can see the elbows. So here my arms are straight. I'm going to take an inhale and lengthen, and exhale and start bending my elbows straight back as I press down into my hands and push forward. Here I am. So that my elbows are pointing back, not winging out. And we breathe. And I'm still very pigeon-toed. So I'm feeling that all the way up the side of the leg. Make sure that your head and neck are free here and you're not holding tension or squeezing your shoulders up. Maybe shake yes and no with your head just to make sure that you're getting that full tractioning from the weight of the head, just drawing your spine further down. Three more breaths here. And then we'll crawl ourselves forward again into this arms extended half forward fold. I'm going to turn around. From here, you're going to point your toes open this time. So I went from strong pigeon toe to pointing open now. And from there, I'm just going to, again, just do that lunging side to side here. And when I lunge to the right, I'm really trying to point my left toes down into the mat. to really get that good stretch. There's a woodpecker that's just getting going. I think it's a woodpecker. Could be a squirrel up to no good. All right, you can heel toe your way in, walk forward and bring your knees down to the mat. Okay, we're going to come onto hands and knees just to stretch our legs back here for a moment. So reach back through the right leg so that the leg is extended and you can bounce back into the heel. I love doing this. I do this all the time in my practice and in my classes, just between postures. I don't even think this thing has a traditional name, or it's not technically a pose, but it feels so good. Especially with all the work we've done in that area. All right, and you can switch to the left. My phone's dead, so I'm gonna have to shimmy up to my laptop and check the time real quick. Okay, we're good. All right. So this next pose is called Vajrasana. It is a kneeling position, and it is to stretch the tops of the feet as well as just free the spine. I'm going to show you this from the back because oftentimes what happens in this posture is we let our heels split and everything collapses, and that is not how the posture should be performed. So I'm going to turn away from you, and I'm going to make sure that you can see my feet and heels from the collar here, away from the foot. Okay, so when we come into Vajrasana, the inner ankles should be drawing in toward each other. What generally tends to happen is the feet splay open and the ankles fall open like that. And that's a collapsing in this posture. So we want the strength of those inner ankles pulling together to help us feel supported and actually have the work of the posture happening. So that can be a doozy on the calves for a lot of people to pull those ankles in. So if you're new to this posture, one thing you might want to do is take your block, bring it between your ankles, and squeeze in on the block, and then sit your bum back onto the block. This is just as challenging, by the way, as without the block, in my opinion. Now I've actually got a physical object that I can squeeze into and make that an even more engaged posture. Now, also a tendency, and I'm going to show you this from the side as you hold this posture, a tendency in this position. So let me get in position here. So one of the tendencies is to let your low ribs pop out and to get a strong lordic curve going on. So what we want to also be aware of, okay, so I'm squeezing in with my ankles, and I can let myself come here. I want to draw those low ribs back so that everything feels as if it's engaging inward and lifting upward. And that'll lengthen my mid back when I pull those low ribs back. And I just let the shoulders relax down the back, still squeezing in with the ankles. My thighs are talking to me right now. I was checking the sun to see if I was about to lose it again. I had to move my mat like 2 or 3 times last class. Last class I recorded. It's worth it though to be outside. Can't control nature, so just gotta roll with it. Take 3 more breaths here. All right, so I'd like for you to remove your block if you can. And here we're going to stay. I'm going to back up a little bit again so you can see my feet. We're going to stay on the heels here. We're going to bring our hands to our mats just below our shoulders. And I want you to tuck under with your pelvis and pick your knees up. And then exhale back down. Inhale, tuck and lift. Exhale down. Tuck and lift. Exhale down. Okay, I have to point this out. I did the first 2 or 3 incorrectly. I was letting, well, it's a different pose. I was letting my hips shift back as I pulled up. And this is, you know, this is actually a posture that we can work on. But it's going to feel different in your body to leave your arms extended, shoulders over wrist, and just lift with the bum as you tuck under and push into the top of the feet to lift. It's a little stronger of a position as opposed to a balancing position. So let's do 5 more of those. So tuck under with your pelvis, press down into the tops of your feet to lift your knees, not letting your shoulders shift. Exhale back down. Inhale, tuck, press, lift. Exhale down. I can feel that all in my lower legs. Inhale, tuck, press, lift. Exhale down. 2 more. Inhale, tuck, press, lift. Exhale down. Last one. Inhale, tuck, press, lift. Exhale down. And let's come back up onto hands and knees. Take an inhale into your low back, tucking your toes under. Exhale, reaching back and up to downward facing dog. This should be the freest dog of the entire evening here. After all that work. And go ahead and settle back down. You're going to need your block again. Just a little bit of massage here at the end. So you're going to take your block and bring the corner of it onto the meaty side of your shin. Well, the outer meaty side of your shin, because you got 2 meaty sides, but really the front is that outer edge. And you're going to take the corner of your block and you're just going to go back and forth as you walk down your leg. So you're massaging. You're giving that meaty part next to your shin bone a compression massage here with your block. And you can walk all the way down until you don't feel meatiness and then come on back up. Again, crawling down. We'll do 3 rounds. And back up. Feels good. 1 more, back down. And then we'll get the other leg. We'll have a quick Dandasana, a supine twist, and then Shavasana. And back up. And we'll switch legs. All right, so coming onto that corner of the block onto the meatiness and just kind of rocking back and forth all the way down and back up. There is some specialness in there. You have a bunch of energy lines that run through there too. And back down, round 2. And up. Last round, going down. And back up. And you can place your block off to the side. Just going to come to sit in Dandasana. So legs extended out in front of you. Hands can come back to support, and all I want you to do is flare your toes open as much as you can. So abduction of the toes. And we're just breathing here. Trying to create as much space between the toes as possible. And then maybe giving them some wiggles. And you can come onto your back for our twist tonight. So our twist is going to be really simple. You're going to come onto your back and let your knees drop in towards your chest. Arms out to the sides. Let your knees drop over to the right side. Trying not to let that left shoulder pop up. And then you can reach down with your right hand and just draw down on that top knee. If you need a little bit more, you can lengthen out through the top leg and take hold around the outside edge of the foot. But you don't have to go there. You can stay here with knees bent. So they're pretty high up toward my armpit. That's what I was cueing when I had you drop your knees into your chest first before you rolled over. You have a few more breaths here. All right, you can release that foot if you lengthened. Come back to bent knees. Back up to center, dropping in toward your chest. And off to the left, attempting to keep right shoulder grounded. I like to come palm up because that helps me get that shoulder up under me. Reach down with your left to draw that top knee deeper for yourself. And either stay here with knees bent, or you can lengthen out the top leg and take hold around the outside edge of the foot for a little deeper stretch. And I'm trying to draw that top hip down away from my armpit. It kind of wants to kick up on me, especially on my right side. I'm trying to lengthen my right waist. We'll take 3 more breaths here. And release the foot, bend the knee, bring it back into center. Maybe give yourself a few rocks of your hips here in center just to release your low back. And then you can release down to your mat, lengthen your legs out on your mat, extending away from your body. Feet come about mat's distance apart. Just allow your feet to flop open to the sides. Arms come out to the sides, palms up. And do a little bit of adjusting, wiggling around to make sure the shoulder blades are up underneath you, opening your heart space. Distributing your weight equally between your hips and your shoulders, lengthening the back of your neck, closing your eyes and settling in for Shavasana. Letting go, I whisper, it's okay to release. Letting go, my body says back to me, thank you. Letting go, I find a silence and a stillness so sweet. Letting go, I feel my body welcome in peace. This feeling of centeredness, groundedness, and ease becomes available anytime I'm willing to let go and welcome release. As the sound of the bell enters into your awareness, let it bring with it an awareness of your surroundings. Beginning to deepen your breath and turn your senses outward once again. Slowly begin to bring movements back into your body, starting with fingertips and toes, hands and feet, wrists and ankles, arms and legs. Whole body making movements that feel good to you. And when you're ready, make your way over onto your right side using arm or blanket as a pillow. Remaining there for just a couple of breaths, allowing all weight off the heart. And then you can gently help yourself up to a comfortable seated position. We'll end where we began. I invoke favor, peace, prosperity, and health upon each of us this day. May we experience full restoration, nothing missing, nothing broken. That which has been taken from us, physical and not, may it be returned to us sevenfold. And that which was once broken in our lives, bodies, minds, or spirits, may it be mended like new. May all beings be happy, healthy, and free, and may we practice with patience and know much peace. Namaste. Thank you to Karen in the room with me tonight. Thank you to each of you out there in YouTube land that happens to stumble across this video and finds it useful. If you do find it useful and you want to help a gal out, hit like and subscribe, please. If not, oh well, I can't make you do it. No, I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and join me again on Sunday for a little bit more yogurt. Namaste, everybody.